purchases at farmers markets and farm stands, and mobile markets and CSAs. So folks who come and swipe their SNAP card either at the terminals or at the market manager's booth get the same amount of money they spend on fruits and vegetables put back on their account. The program started back in April thanks to a USDA grant, and the state has contributed a significant amount of money as well. Thank you to Representative Pignatelli for supporting that with his vote on the budget back in July. And the program is proving to be a huge success. We've given out over $1.5 million in incentives already to more than 30,000 families around the state, and that money stays in the state. It stays with farmers, which then goes back into the local economy, helping the farmers steward their land, helping to protect the environment. And so it's really a win-win program for everybody. And the public health outcomes are obvious, that folks are eating better and understanding the value of healthy food in their diets. And also the community building aspect of getting folks out to farmers markets who haven't been using farmers markets in the past. We're hearing about great successes, and we'll talk to Elizabeth in a minute, but we've heard from farmers markets all over the state about farms that are doubling their sales over last year. I spoke to the Brockton market manager who said they had more SNAP sales on the first day than they've had in the last 2 years combined. Markets in Boston and in some of the gateway cities have lines an hour before the market even opens. So it's really a success story, and it shows the value of connecting issues within the food system, connecting agriculture to food access, to public health, and coming up with programs and models that really work for everybody. So we invited Representative Pignatelli out here because he's the newly minted co-chair of the Ag Committee, but has been a champion of agriculture for a long time, and a lot of farms in Berkshire County and a lot of residents in Berkshire County have been taking advantage of the HIP program. So we wanted him to see it in action. So thanks for coming this morning.
Thank you so much, and congratulations. I'm very excited to be here. I look at my friend Laura Lee and Barbara Zheutlin, who've been doing some wonderful things for a long time on Berkshire Grown. And now I just met Winton about a week ago in my newly minted role to echo your sentiment about as chairman of the Environment, Natural Resources, and Agriculture. I've been on a whirlwind tour crisscrossing the state, dealing with hearings to get caught up on where the committee is, and also to visit farms to see what else is going on. We think about agriculture and farming in the Berkshires. It's similar but very different in other parts of the state. So it's been a real eye-opener for me. I've been in the legislature for 15 years, and whatever Barbara says is fine with me. And the Berkshire Grown has really become a staple to be replicated, and it is being replicated throughout the Commonwealth. Winton is doing some fantastic stuff, and I think the fact that we have a SNAP benefit program at a farmer's market, it's really kind of a no-brainer. Right. And it's amazing we didn't do this before. But Winton gave all the statistics, and it's a partnership between the USDA as well as in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And over 300 farmers plus, and continues to grow, are participating in this program. 30,000 individuals, 400,000 families. The concept of eating healthy is really, shouldn't be unique, but sadly it is. And I think if we can treat those habits and treat people equally, irregardless of their economic status, to eat healthy becomes habitual, and I think we can have a healthy Massachusetts. We've been at the forefront of so many positive things in the Berkshires, but in Massachusetts for the nation. I think this is another example that by partnering with our federal government, that good things can happen, and I'm honored to be here, and I'm ready to go do some shopping. Great.
I think Representative Pignatelli touched on something really important, that this is about the local food movement, and that this really blows up two of the very persistent myths about the local food movement. One is that we've reached a plateau. Everyone who knows about local food, there's no new markets to reach, and it's sort of leveling off. And by showing that there's a whole market out there of folks who didn't know about farmers markets, didn't know about farm stands, there is more room for growth in the local foods market. And the other myth is that low-income folks don't care about what they eat. The fact is they do. It just needs to be made more accessible to them, and that's what this program does.
And if I could add to that, I'm glad you said that, because as a former businessman, you're always looking for new customers. So this is looking out for new customers, and I think protecting the family farms and keeping them vibrant and helping their bottom line, I think is really a cool thing. And I'm excited to support it, and I'm excited for the work on the committee that we'll be going forward and working and partnering with you again on many issues going forward for the greater good. So
thanks for your leadership on this.
Yeah. Thank you. Elizabeth.
Sorry to take you as a customer.
Hi, Elizabeth Keene.
Smitty, nice to see you.
Yeah.
So, tell us about your experience with HIP so far. Sorry, tell us who you are and what
Yeah.
your farm is. Where your farm is.
So I'm Elizabeth Keene, and my farm is in South Egremont, Mass, far away. And we've been farming for 20 years. This winter will be 20th season. And the HIP program for us has been sort of an extension of working with the low-income coupons that we get, and then also the market has made a huge commitment towards working with SNAP customers in the SNAP token program. So this was, for me, a natural extension towards that. I think there's a lot of things. It was a little bureaucratic to get it up and running, and I was approved, and then I had to wait for a while to get the actual machine, and I had no idea that the machine was this beautiful iPad. I kept waiting for this like awkward thing or the mail. This is it. But have found it super easy to work with, and the like NovaDia, the programming, it's all super simple. It's worked great for me, and I have been impressed with just generally the customers, the respectfulness in terms of, because it's more transaction, it's more time, and that is sometimes a little problem, especially when we're really busy. But I'm more than happy to serve clientele and to actually have to see that clientele here, which I think we haven't seen for a long time.
And nobody should be embarrassed by this at all. I mean, the SNAP benefits are there. It's for a purpose, to help people. And I think to help them eat healthy and think more healthy, I think makes sense. And it's not a burden to you. You got this new machine.
Got my new machine.
I'd love to get a new machine like that. But I think it exposes.
My kids want this machine.
but it exposes people to a different environment. I think it's awesome. And it helps your bottom line.
It has been really, it has been moving on. It's been great. Yeah.
And one of what you said about the embarrassment factor is really an important one, and the HIP program took that into account in its design. There have been a lot of double matching programs in the state. Boston did a Boston Bounty Bucks program where folks could go to the market manager and buy coupons that they then would use at the farm stands. But it was a different type of transaction. It's the same as any other customer. They're using their credit card. There's none of that stigma that's attached to having to shop differently. And also, since Elizabeth mentioned the technology, one thing that's really neat about this program, big grant from USDA that got it started. Now the farmers all own this stuff, and the state owns the infrastructure. And even though the USDA grant runs out in 3 years, there's no reason why this program can't go on in perpetuity, as long as the legislature is willing to support the incentive dollars themselves to keep it running.
And if we can prove our success and hear good success stories like this, I think there's no reason why we can't do it. I mean, we're struggling financially in the Commonwealth, as we all know, but how we spend our finite tax dollars, I think, are critically important. And if we don't view this as a critically important tax dollar being spent, we're in the wrong business. I have to ask you.
It's getting lost. It's going right back in.
But it's regenerating itself. Yeah. It's recycling.
Yeah.
So
It's creating jobs in the state. Absolutely.
It's awesome. So let me ask you all. I mean, 3 days ago, how many people were complaining about the weather? But unlike the weather, a staple of the Berkshires are the farmers markets, and I think it's really pretty special, and it's now open for everybody, irregardless. So congratulations to the farmers and to Winton for being here, Barbara for educating me personally, and I think the entire Berkshire delegation several years ago about the value of Berkshire grown. And it's something that's every year I can count on Barbara calling me during budget time, but it's really a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, and I tell you, I owe you so much. So thank you. All right, congratulations. All right.
Now let's go buy some vegetables.
Let's go buy some vegetables.
Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. Thank you. This is